do subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell button.
The bright light illuminated the entire area. The night was no longer dark. The darkness had disappeared for a few moments. The light was intense and widespread. For a few moments, the entire area became vibrant, but the light didn't last long, and soon the darkness embraced the area again. At that moment, a girl who had fallen from above along with the light sat in the same spot. Even in the darkness, she was gazing at the area in amazement, as if she had never seen buildings before. The girl was curiously examining the place. With a magnetic face and dressed in a tight religious outfit, she was inspecting herself in astonishment, as if she didn't know who she was. After a while, she knelt down, adjusted her headscarf, spread her hands, filled her eyes with tears, and looked up to the sky, praying, "O Allah, you are the master of both worlds. You are the mercy for all. I, a disappointed soul, plead to you. Why have you decided to send me back to the world? And if you sent me back, why as a woman? The task you gave me 1,500 years ago has been completed. My religion and my stance are fulfilled. What is your purpose in sending me here again?" She was shouting towards the sky, crying and waiting for a response when a large winged angel appeared in the sky. "O last prophet of Allah, your mission and your prophethood ended 1,500 years ago. But now Allah has sent you as a human to see if the Islam you spread is still intact. Did you guide your nation to the true path of Allah? Surely, you were Allah's last prophet, and Allah now wants you to check your community one more time and guide them toward salvation before the end of the world." With these words, the angel vanished. Hearing the angel's words, the prophet girl tried to call him back, shouting Jibreel, Jibreel, but she failed. The sunlight from a nearby building was slowly dissolving the darkness. The prophet girl watched everything in amazement. Then she heard the call to prayer, Adhan, and felt immense joy, repeating every word of the Adhan with full attention. After the Adhan, she stood up with enthusiasm, wiped her face with her hands, prayed, and began walking forward. In her tight religious attire, the prophet girl was searching for the person whose Adhan had filled her heart with joy. She hadn't walked far when the loud, disturbing sound of an engine caught her attention. She stared at the bike, and the man on the bike stopped next to her. "Are you lost? Where do you need to go? I can drop you," the man asked while revving the bike. The prophet girl heard his questions but was too engrossed in looking at the bike. "What is this?" she asked in amazement. The man laughed loudly. In the quiet of the morning, it seemed bizarre that a girl was asking about his bike without answering her. He sped off, leaving her behind. "Oh Allah, did I ask the wrong question? What is this thing? And at what age have you sent me to this earth?" she said, looking up at the sky. As she stood there, a passerby approached. She asked him, "Is there a mosque nearby?" The man looked her up and down and pointed with his hand. "Behind that tree, there's a mosque," he said. The prophet girl became happy and hurried toward the mosque. When she reached the mosque, she saw that the Fajr prayer was just ending. She took off her shoes at the mosque's gate and was about to enter when a man stopped her. "What are you doing?" the man asked. "My prayer is getting late. Please let me pray," she replied. "You should pray at home. There's no space for women to pray here. Coming into the mosque in such clothes is disrespectful," the man warned her. The prophet girl stopped at the mosque's door. "Okay, well, can you give me an Allah's book?" she asked as she stood outside. "Wait here for 2 minutes. I'll bring you the Quran," the man replied. Went inside and whispered something to the mosque's imam. The prophet girl waited outside. Soon, the man returned with the Quran. Before handing it to her, he kissed the holy book 3 times, touched it to his eyes, placed it against his heart, and then gave it to her. Afterward, he went back inside the mosque. The prophet girl watched all of this in astonishment, noting everything carefully. "Did Allah send another prophet after me 1,500 years ago? Did Abu Bakr, Umar, or Uthman, or even Ali, change their religion after I left the world? Who taught these things to my community? Could it be that these are not my true followers but Jews pretending to be Muslims?" She wondered to herself as she looked at the Quran. After standing by the mosque's wall for a while, she heard a sound that lured her inside. She quickly stood up and saw the mosque's imam locking the mosque doors. After making sure the mosque was secure, the imam started to leave. The prophet girl approached him. "Do you also worship in a cave?" she asked the imam. The imam laughed sarcastically. "Why do you need a cave? You can come with me to my house," he replied, inviting her. Thinking of the imam as a pious man, the prophet girl followed him. They were about to reach the imam's house. A woman covered in a white burqa approached them. Where are you going? The Imam asked, noticing the woman. I'm going to buy groceries. We've run out of food. The woman replied humbly. All right. Are the children and Yasmin at home? The Imam asked. The woman briefly replied, yes, and after casting a glance at the Prophet girl, she walked away. Is that your sister? The Prophet girl asked after the woman left. No, she's my first wife, and my second wife is at home cooking for me. The Imam replied. How many wives do you have? The Prophet girl asked further. I've been married 3 times. I just divorced one wife yesterday, he replied. Soon, the Imam and the Prophet girl entered the house. 2 children ran to the Imam, calling father, father, and hugged him. He lovingly caressed them and instructed them to go to their room. Another woman, standing with the children, glared at the Imam with anger. What is your name? The Imam asked the Prophet girl as they entered. The Prophet girl hesitated for a moment and then instinctively said, Aisha, Aisha, you go to the room over there. I'll join you soon, and we'll have dinner together, the Imam said, addressing his second wife as he spoke to the Prophet girl. The Prophet girl went into the room.